This video is going to be covering question 2, part C from the 2021 AP Calculus AB free response section calculator required portion of the test. I cover each of the sections A, B, C, and D in their own little videos, so if you want to see any of those other portions, check out my other videos. Question C here actually has two pieces that we have to take care of. It has this question, the first question, which is it wants us to find the acceleration of particle Q at this specific time. And then the second part of the question will talk to us about whether or not the speed of that particle is increasing or decreasing. So let's start off with the first part. Let's find the acceleration at t equals 1. To do that, we want to remind ourselves of the physics relationship that you just better know like the back of your hand. So if I've got an original function that is the position function, if I take the derivative of position, that gets me to velocity. And then the second derivative of position, or in our case, the first derivative of velocity, is going to equal acceleration. And so on this problem, what we'll see is our Q particle that we're talking about here, we were given particle Q's velocity function right here. So we're essentially starting at this level of the process, and we want to find out the acceleration. And so what we need to do is we're going to need to take the derivative of our velocity equation to get our acceleration. Essentially what we want to find is v prime of 1 because they want to know the acceleration at 1. Well, the beautiful part for us is we don't actually have to do any of the derivative by hand. This is a calculator required section, so the calculator can always find the derivative for us at a specific value. So what we'll do here is we'll do it in the calculator. Step 1 of that process is you're just going to take, and in y1, you're going to put that original velocity equation. Instead of t's, we're going to type in x's, so this would be x minus 1.8 times 1.25 to the x. From there, you'll go ahead and graph that equation. And then we're going to go into the calc menu. We'll hit second, calc, and inside the calc menu, we're going to choose the number 6 option, which is dy dx. You'll hit enter on that, and that'll put you back onto the graph. And from there, you're just going to type in the x value that we care about. So in this situation, we're worried about an x value of 1. So we would type in 1, hit enter, and at the bottom of the screen, it's going to tell us dy dx equals, and whatever that is, that's going to be our answer. That's going to be our velocity's derivative, which is our acceleration. So let's go ahead and open up our calculator and do that. So open up the calculator. We go to the y equals in the top left corner. We're going to type in our equation x minus 1.8 and then times 1.25, raise it to the x. From there, you just hit the graph button. And now to find the derivative, you hit second. You'll choose the calc menu, which is the button above trace at the very top of the calculator. And inside there, you're going to hit the number 6 option, dy dx. Hit enter on that. That'll pull you back out onto the graph, and then from there you want to type in the x value that you care about. So in this situation, we want to type in an x value of 1, hit enter, and at the bottom of the screen we get out our answer. And so when you go to your final answers on the AP Calc test, they generally want the final answer to be in 3 decimal places. So that would be 1.02, and that 8 after the 6 would round that to a 7. So we'd end up with 1.027. So our acceleration would be 1.027, and that's half of our answer right there. Now what we want to do is answer the second part of this. So the second part of this problem is talking to us about the speed of the particle and whether or not it's increasing or decreasing. Speed is technically the absolute value of velocity. It's slightly different than velocity. So when we go to find whether or not it's increasing or decreasing, we do that by playing a little game. We know that our speed would be increasing if our velocity and our acceleration have the same sign, because then they're moving in the same direction. So if our velocity is positive and our acceleration is positive, our speed is increasing. And it's also true that if our velocity is negative and our acceleration is negative, that our speed is also increasing. If it's decreasing, what we'll see is those signs would be different. So if we've got our velocity and our acceleration, if our velocity is negative and our acceleration is positive, then we know the speed is decreasing. And vice versa, if our velocity was positive and our acceleration is negative, then we know that our speed is decreasing. So this is a speed question, so that's how you determine that. This problem here, they want to know what's happening at time t equals 1. Well, we just got out our acceleration at t equals 1. That was the first part of this. So we know that our acceleration at 1, our acceleration sub q, if you want to call it that, at 1 is 1.027, and that is positive. Now we just need to come through and we need to figure out what's going on with our velocity. So v sub q of 1. Well, to do that, we actually have the calculator almost set up to do that for us already. We just need to take and plug 1 into that velocity equation that we already have plugged into our calculator. So rather than, we'll go back to our graph, and then rather than doing a second calc dy dx, what we would do on step 3 there, our new step 3 for this process would be to do a second calc and then choose the number 1 option, which is value, and then it'll ask us at what x value do we want to do it at, and we'll type in 1. And whatever the y value is that comes out of there, that's going to be our velocity, and we'll use that if it's positive or negative to determine whether or not our speed is increasing or decreasing. So we open up the calculator, and this is one of the reasons that I like to graph everything, is you oftentimes use the same equation over and over again, so it's easier to handle when you just leave it in the y equals. So now I'm going to hit second calc, choose that number 1 option value. It wants to know where at. I type in 1. I hit enter, and I see at the bottom of the screen that I get a y value that is equal to -1. So the most important part of that, -1 is the answer, but the most important part is the fact that it's negative. And so what we can do now is draw our conclusion about speeding up, or whether it's increasing or decreasing based upon those symbols. So we have a positive acceleration and a negative velocity. Our signs are different. And because they're different, we know that the speed is decreasing. And that would be our final answer for that. They want you to show the difference between the signs and then drawing a conclusion based upon whether or not they're the same or different signs. So we would have gotten 1 point on this question for getting our acceleration correct, and then we would have gotten 1 point here for making this conclusion about the speed decreasing. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.